Now, ladies and gentlemen, patches inside of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but most importantly, Stockholm 2021 patches, and of course, patch packs. Now, the past week on YouTube, I have seen these more discussed now than any other time, including when they first came out in Stockholm 2021. There's a few reasons behind it, the main one being is there's quite a few of them that are up quite a bit, but people really aren't seeing the bigger picture, and that's what I want to discuss in today's video. I've received multiple questions if they should buy into these, if they should sell them, if they should invest into them for the long term, and what's the future looking like for them. Now with today's video, by the end, you're going to have my personal opinion, my hot take on everything. We'll take a look at some data on some patches and patch packs to look at the return and the quantity being sold and of course bought on a regular basis. So that'll help you with your decision. Before we do so, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe. And here's a quick word from our video sponsor, Skins Monkey.
Now today's video sponsor is of course Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is currently the easiest and also fastest way you can buy, but most importantly trade your CSGO skins. All you have to do is make sure you have your trade link, and on your first trade, if you have a leftover balance, it goes towards your current balance that can be used the next time you end up trading skins. It has 3 ways you can inspect, but most importantly has a very in-depth inspect feature that you can see corners on a karambit for an example that you can't really see otherwise unless you have the item in game. If you end up topping up your balance, make sure to use promo code MANDO to get up to a 35% deposit bonus and a free $5 on the first trade.
Now quickly before we go into the data, I want to answer a very important question. Why have these gone up so much in the period of time they have? At least in the past couple of weeks, that's when we've seen the most amount of spikes and the most bought anyway throughout the past year. So I think there's 2 big factors into this. Number 1 is the Rio Majors being played right now. Patches on teams who have made it through and also not made it through, who have been disqualified that might disband as a team, have also gone up quite a bit. Patches are also being discussed a lot more than they really ever have. And with agents becoming a little more popular, I would assume people are wanting to apply patches and even going back to Stockholm 2021 for an example. But one of the things we discuss later on in the video is because there is so little bought and sold in one transaction, for an example, most people only buy 1 or 2 of these, and there's only 1 or 2 sold throughout every single day if they do sell that day. With something so little in quantity on the market, especially under 100, the price shifts and changes so much. So it looks a lot higher than it realistically is. So going into this, I think it's going to be a little controversial, especially my take on things. Patches for me have never really been a huge thing. They've never really been a huge talking point on my YouTube channel either. That's why every time I've talked about them and discussed them, it's usually been a Mando Monday or a segment of another video like yesterday's market update. But today, it's getting its very own thing. The big headline for most people right now is that the mouse gold, the patch specifically, is up 3,300% since November of 2021, being $1, now $34. We take a look at the percentage calculator here, 1 to 34, that's 3,300%, which is actually a huge return. But what people aren't seeing here is you go to the market and you look at Stockholm 2021 patches. There's not a whole lot on there. And with not a whole lot of quantity on something on the Steam market, for an example, it's very easy to manipulate the price for 1, but 2, since there's so little, you can really make the price whatever you want. But if people are going to buy them, it's a 50-50 right there. But if you click on the mouse gold, we're going to take a look at the overall market for these right now. So most of these are sitting from 34, 34, 35, 36, 39 on the market, and the rest are above 80. Pushing that anyway. When we take a look at the Steam graph, the past month they've gone from 12 to 34 bucks. The past couple days they've gone to 18. But as you can see, there's not a whole lot that sell, and that's my biggest takeaway from this, to you guys anyway. And that's what I discussed in months prior in segments and videos. The headline looks absolutely amazing that these have gone up 3,400%, but you really can't buy any more than 2 or 3 than these. They're currently at their peak at $35, 36 I guess right now. And it's already starting to go down from 36 to 34, probably will follow suit eventually. This isn't market manipulation by any means, it's just not a huge demand for them. And as you can see, we go along here as the prices throughout 2022, there's not a whole lot of transactions here that you see more than 10 sold. There's a couple, like the 12 one right here. There's some 30 ones coming up. There's a 20, 45, 22, 36, and then the rest is under really double digits, which is just kind of crazy. And that's what people haven't really looked at. And going into 2021, it's a lot different. These were brand new, so these were getting sold and bought like crazy. As you can see, there's 80 sold right here, the most that we've ever seen on this one specifically. And the reason I'm picking the mouse is because it is the most popular and it has had the best return, and people have asked a lot of questions about it. And for the rest, I mean, you can kind of see the quantity is very, very similar. Let's take the FaZe Clan gold. They have a decent chance at winning in this possible major here this year in Rio, $14. And the quantity is relatively very the same for this as it is for the mouse. You have just a few that are just regular default prices, and the rest are way above what they actually are. Very similar to every other patch, they're just not selling. And this is the second example I want to use. And these have also had some crazy spikes. Let's look at the beginning from October of 2021. You can see not a whole lot selling. 137 is probably the most on this entire list. And then of course, now we're here at $14 being one sold. Something I could somewhat relate this to is just the other day I was talking about Greyhound on my recent market update for the month with Rio stickers. They didn't go 0-3. That was pretty crazy. But since these are so new, they're also not really in that much demand because they are so new because they're so expensive. The 75% off sale is coming very, very soon. People were hyping up these stickers, saying they could be a good investment early on, but it's just plain up stupid. As you can see, it's very similar to patch quantity where these are not really getting moved. 3 sold here, 3 sold here, 1 sold, and you kind of get the picture. Obviously, these are a little different since they're not really considered an investment yet because there's no 75% off sale, but very similar with the transaction quantity that's getting moved every time someone buys or sells them. So the big question, should you invest into these right now? And the quick answer is no. A lot of these are hitting their all-time high since they are getting hyped up so much in the market. And that's quite frankly the opposite of what you want to do is buy in high and sell low, of course. You want to buy in at a low point and you've kind of missed that opportunity to. But my opinions still stand the same as they did almost a year ago at this point. Yes, they are going up, but they're in such little demand that even if you have 3 of these and you have them on the market, the odds of them selling in the same day, especially at an all-time high like this, are very low at the price you want it to. These aren't like cases and stickers where you can buy hundreds of these things, stack them up and sell them all at once if you'd want to for a regular decent price. Now, the reasons these aren't in demand, that's also a very large question we have on the table as well. Well, it's pretty simple. You can't see them in game, and CSGO doesn't have any way you can see your player models with other people in a lobby. Now, will that happen eventually? Possibly with a Source 2 update in the next couple of years, we could possibly see something like that, very similar to Warzone or something like Fortnite, for an example. Now, would that really impact the market? Probably not. Another thing I've talked about before as well is patches feel very similar to when gloves first came out. They were not enjoyed. They were not loved. No one enjoyed them whatsoever. But the difference between these two and gloves is with over time, people started to enjoy them a little more with knife and glove combos. You could actually see your gloves in game and they actually changed up a little bit how you played. The same thing was with agents for a very long time as well when they came out in Shattered Web. People thought they were a little stupid, but since they made your player model look a little different in game, have different voice lines, it changed things up, made things refreshing. People found those to be a little more interesting, and that's why they're sold in a very high quantity. So when these things do go down in the future just a little bit, I would maybe consider picking up 1 or 2. But for me anyway, this would be an afterthought, meaning if you haven't bought your cases yet as an investment, which right now just in general is a pretty bad time because things are so expensive, I would go into those first. They're a lot more safe. You can sell a lot more all at once. And that's just my personal take. And as it goes for patch packs, they're not really too much different than the patches themselves. Yes, they have gone up. And since these are sold in a very high quantity, you actually might have a better chance at selling some of these rather than patches all at once. At least in a higher quantity. That's how I look at things usually. My problem with patches was never the profit issue. It was just the point that these aren't in demand, they're too volatile in price, and you can't sell more than 2 or 3 at a time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know that was a little more of a hot take, but I think I just needed to talk about it today. Since things have gone up so much, let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me why if you do or do not. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.